Everywhere we see growth, everywhere we see increase, everywhere we see advancement, it calls for joy, it calls for celebration. Whether a young boy graduating from a school, or someone getting a job, or receiving promotion, anything at all that centers around growth, centers around increase, centers around advancement, and in fact centers around victory, it calls for joy and rejoicing. There are times that you see celebrations in a place and you find people who are not even connected to the family celebrating, rejoicing with them. Because every time you see people rejoicing, dancing, making merry, it's therapeutic to see people rejoice, to see people record milestones in their lives. Are we together? If you're passing and you see students graduating, or you're moving around and you see a couple celebrating weddings or anniversaries, or any kind of thing that represents growth, victory, advancement, and success, it calls for rejoicing. It's a fundamental part of life. And I wrote here, in fact, it is the major reason, not the only reason, but the major reason for success, happiness, and fulfillment is growth, increase, advancement, and victory. I don't know anyone who is indefinitely rejoicing, happy, feeling, very satisfied and fulfilled, and upon probing why he's that excited, he would not mention anything related to growth, or related to success, or related to victory and triumph, or related to advancement. There will always be something, even if it's growth in the knowledge of Jesus. Are we together? You hear people testify here. Why do we pay rapt, undivided attention as they testify? Because we know that no matter how sad the story is, we already know that the end of that story is joy. The end of that story is victory. Am I right on that? The end of that story is triumph. So they begin the story usually by, somewhere the saddest part of the whole episode. This one happened, I was diagnosed of cancer, say I was diagnosed of this, and for a moment you are kept in that suspense, like listening or watching a movie. But you are comforted that the fact that the person stood here is sign that whatever the situation is, and sometimes the deeper the explanation, as they drive your mind through the depth of what they went through, you are already anticipating to see how the victory happened. Every time we encounter growth, we encounter success, we encounter victory or triumph, we encounter advancement, whether spiritually, financially, materially, and otherwise, it calls for joy, it calls for excitement, and in truth, it is one of the bases for our happiness, our comfort, and our fulfillment. Hallelujah. We all desire growth and advancement, I wrote here. It's a fact that some will not openly embrace, others may live in the denial of it, others are a lot more vocal about their appreciation and their desire for growth. But the truth is that from a spiritual and a psychological standpoint,